Niddah Daf Zayin. We're going to be learning 3 different cases that the halachic outcome is different. The first case is a woman who's making dough, and there's a suffix tumah in the dough. The Gemara is going to explain what kind of suffix we're talking about. We don't know if the dough is tameh or tar. Now, a kohen on the spot can't eat this dough because there's a suffix tumah. He can't eat the challah part. The question is, can this woman continue making the dough and even make the dough tameh on purpose? The answer is, if there was no gemar melacha, you didn't do gilgul, you didn't add water to it and start making the dough, then you can make this dough tameh on purpose. Why? Because you're allowed to make chulin tameh in Eretz Yisrael. Now the challah part, anyways, a kohen can't eat it because there's a suffix tumah. So you're not creating any additional tumah. However, once there was a gemar melacha, once there was gilgul, you added water and you started kneading the dough, you can no longer treat this dough betumah. You can't make the dough tameh on purpose. Why? And this is halacha we're going to be discussing here. The halacha is that once dough becomes chayav in challah, even before you mafresh the challah, the entire dough must be treated as challah, because this challah inside this dough, you just don't know where it is, so the whole dough is challah, and you cannot make tumah on purpose. Now, what kind of tumah are we talking about? What kind of suffix? We're not talking about a suffix ashakal, an equal suffix. Like, for instance, if there are 2 paths in front of a person, and there's a person buried in one of the paths, and he's not sure which path he took, or let's say 2 people went on one in each path, and they both came to Bezdin, there's a 50% chance that the person is tameh. We're talking about a much lesser suffix, a suffix of a nishan, of a leaning. That is, let's say a zav is carrying a very heavy object with a tar person. It's possible that the zav leaned his weight they're carrying the object on the tar person, or perhaps the tar person leaned his weight on the zav, and therefore would be similar to hesed. Now, it's very different here, because it's possible that there's no leaning at all. And even if there was leaning, it's not a true hesed. It's not a true lifting and moving of a zav, because it's possible that he leaned on it without moving him. Therefore, that's the type of suffix that we're talking about, because on a greater suffix, a stronger suffix, the challah would be also even chulin. Now, there's another case of a woman who's a tvulas yain, a woman whose tummy went to the mikvah. From the time that she went to the mikvah until sunset, she falls into another category, a much lesser tumah called a tvulas yain, and she's like a sheni. A sheni cannot be metama chulin; it could only be metama truma and kachim. This woman could make a dough, and we don't consider the dough as if the whole dough is challah. Why? Because she's a tvulas yain, and a tvulas yain doesn't have a vadai component to her. Whereas a hesed, when we're talking about a zav and leaning, that's a suffix whether he leaned or not. But if he was a vadai leaner, if he vadai lifted up the zav, or the zav lifted him up, then that food would become tamei bevados. And therefore, we were makbid even in the suffix case that the dough is tamei. Mashenkin by tvulas yain, we weren't geyser on the tvulah. What about a woman in our sugya, the me'es leis woman, a woman who saw dam, and we say that she's tamei retroactive 24 hours. What about those 24 hours? Can she make dough? It seems like she could make dough. Why? Because we learned yesterday that a person who's makbid on himself to eat chulin as if the truma, that niddah is not metama him. So therefore, challah is just like truma, and therefore it shouldn't become tameh. The reason is because a person who's makbid on himself to eat chulin like truma, in the chulin there's zero truma, there's zero challah. He's pretending that it's truma. Mashenkin, a woman who's kneading dough, she created a piece of challah within the dough. Now the whole dough must be treated b'kedusha. So it's very different. We learned, and we had this earlier, Rabbi Eliezer said there are 4 women that when they see dam, we don't have to think that perhaps they had dam yesterday. And that is a young woman, a psula. And what does that mean? A psula to dam. She might be married and not a psula, but she's a psula to dam. She's never seen blood before. An older woman. And what does that mean? A woman who's at the age where she should stop seeing dam, and she stopped seeing for 3 of her periods. That woman, if she sees dam, you don't go retroactive 24 hours. A woman who's nursing, and what does that mean? As long as she's nursing her baby, according to Chachamim, even if she stopped nursing, she has 24 months that are considered as if she's nursing. According to Rabbi Yossi, up until the point where she finishes nursing. And then finally, we have a muberes, a pregnant woman. Pregnant woman, says the Gemara, once she's showing, which is approximately 3 months, she's nikkur that she's muberes. From that point on, if she sees dam, you don't go retroactive. There's another Manawamar in the Mishnah that says, Rabbi Yossi, even a Muberes must show that she hasn't seen Dam for 3 periods. And that might be even more than 3 months, it might be even less. One of these 4 women, any one of these 4 women, who saw Dam once, the second time she sees Dam, she's like a regular woman. She loses her category of these 4 women, and therefore she gets 24 hours retroactive of Tumah. Unless the first time she saw Dam was Machmas Oynis, because she jumped, or whatever reason she saw Dam. Shmuel says, the halacha is like Reb Eliezer in 4 things. One of them is this case in the Mishnah that Reb Eliezer says there are 4 women and not 1 woman like Reb Yeshua. And in fact, it says in our Mishnah, the halacha is like Reb Eliezer. What's the chiddush that Shmuel is saying? Because we can't learn from a Mishnah who the halacha is. Even if the Mishnah says halacha is like so-and-so, we don't take that la halacha. What are the other cases? There's the case of Isha Hamaksha, a woman who's in labor and has labor pains, and she's seen Dam. Now, if she's in the week of Ziva, typically in a week of Ziva, if a woman sees 3 consecutive days, she becomes a Zavak Daila to the point where she has to bring a carbon, and also she must count 7 clean days, like we're makbid today. This woman says the reason why she saw Dam, she claims, is because of her labor and not because of Ziva. If she gave birth immediately, then we know she's right. It was because of labor, and she won't be a Zava, and she doesn't have to wait 7 Akiyim. She just has to, if she gave birth to a boy, she waits 7 days, and she has Tahara. But if she's a Zava, if she had a break of her labor pains, then she turns into a Zava. And then she does have to wait 7 Akiyim. What's the break? Rebbe Eliezer says 24 hours, and the halacha is like him, not like Rabbi Yeshua. You have to wait a night and a day. Another halacha, a Zava and a Zava, as we discussed, have to wait 7 Akim, and they have to do a bdika every single day. What if they only did a bdika on day 1 and on day 7? 3-way machlekes. Rebbe Eliezer says, since she did a bdika on day 1 and day 7, we have to count all the days in between as if she's tar. We don't assume that she saw Dam, and therefore she's tar. Rebbe Akiva says we just count the last day, and then she starts counting from there on out. The Gemara says that makes a lot of sense. Rabbi Yeshua is very difficult to understand. He says you count day 1 and day 7 and nothing in between. So we give her 2 clean days, and then she starts counting 5 days afterwards, and the halacha is like Rebbe Eliezer. And finally, there's a halacha that liquids are metama, they become a rishon, and they cannot be metama a kli. They can metama other foods, but can't metama a kli. The halacha is midarabbanan, they're metama a kli, says Rebbe Eliezer, from the outside, and they're metama other drinks, and they're not metama food. And the halacha is like Rebbe Eliezer. Have a wonderful day.